Personal Prophetic Dream, Part 2, June 20th, 2026. So, the Lord revealed me more about the dream that I had, so I'm going to share that with you right now. And the Lord has given me the ability to interpret my own dreams. And it's not me, it's Him actually. He interprets them for me essentially. But anyway, so the dream. So I was in this area that was super white. It was super, super white. I think I'm going to this time try to give you the interpretation as I flow with the interpretation. And I remember part of this dream where if you imagine taking a cabinet, like a kitchen cabinet, and you turn it on its side, right, so that the shelves are lined up vertically. Some of us were in these shelves. These shelves were super, super white. And I was one of those people in them. And I interpret that to mean, to be a reference to the deep state, the globalists, who run the media that we listen to. And they're trying to keep us almost like a non-human being, like an object that's just stored in a shelf for their use, for them to do with whatever they want. They tell us how to think. They tell us what to do. A quick example, before World War II, Russia and, let me see, Japan and Germany were the bad guys, Russia and China were the good guys, and then after World War II, Japan and Germany were the good guys, and Russia and China became the bad guys, right? Because they tell us who to like, when not to like, they program us. And so that's what that signified to me. So I'm sitting there in this shelf, and some men start running. It's super white. Everything, the whole thing is pure white. And these men, they're dressed almost like, they look like they're dressed like mechanics in a dark blue, I don't know, it was a onesie or if it was just a dark blue matching mechanics pants and shirt. And they're running as fast as they can, you guys. They're running faster than like 15 miles an hour. They're sprinting. And they're screaming. And I hear them and other people hear them. And we're kind of like, what are they screaming about? Why are they trying to bother everybody? And they're screaming something like, it's coming, watch out, whatever. And we don't take them seriously. And so they run past. And before you know it, there's this, it's almost like a blob, but it's made of snow. It's like snow and ice and whatever. And it's rolling through like a blob, and it's just overtaking everyone. And by the time I realize what they're screaming about, it's too late. It rolls over me. And I notice that there's almost like a thick plastic that it's rolling onto. And so that separates you from all of this ice. And so when it hits me, I can feel the code, but it doesn't like immediately suffocate me and start to kill me. There's a separation as a result, and there's, air gets trapped in as well. This represents God's coming judgment on the U.S. It's going to look like nobody's going to survive. Most people are going to survive, okay, but it's not going to be pretty. And I've done many prophecies about God's judgment. God's judgment is coming on this nation. We're going to have mass violence, mass chaos, mass anarchy, mass civil unrest, and upheaval. And then we will be under, something worse is going to happen, and then we're going to be under lockdown. We'll be under martial law. And so let me just throw out there again, prep. If you use medications on the regular, have at least a month's worth of food. I wouldn't say water, but that if you want to do that, you can do that too. I have a little water saved, but not a month's worth. Um, but definitely food, medications you use on the regular, and if you're nursing a wound or whatever, if there's something that you need, whatever, make sure you have a month's worth. If you live in a safer city like I do, like Cheyenne, Wyoming, and if you live in Los Angeles, um, Philadelphia, Chicago, probably New York, save 3 months, because this vision that God gave me, that I've preached about a lot, many times, and this dream is the Lord telling me to preach about it again, and it's a reminder from the Lord. It may take years, but it's still coming, okay? And I lean towards months, but maybe it's still going to be years because the Lord has not given me the when. God's judgment is going to fall on this nation, and we will be under martial law, and everything will be closed down. I'm talking about grocery stores, you guys, Dollar Generals, Family Dollars. Any way that you would normally get food will be shut down. So save. And the economy will be shut down for a month. After a month, they will begin to reopen it. And they'll reopen it in cities that are safe first, and then they'll slowly open it in cities that have high crime rates. They'll be much slower, and it'll take them up to 3 months before they'll open it in those cities. So that's how much food you should be saving. And again, medications or anything that you use on the regular, make sure you have 1 to 3 months depending on the safety level of your city. So it's interesting because when all of this snow and ice rolls over me, it does pin me. It doesn't flatten me, right? It doesn't immediately take my life or anything like that. But it pins me down. Like I said, I'm in between these shelves. You know, you have shelves where they're stacked. The shelves of a cabinet are going to be stacked horizontally, and then if you flip the shelf on its back, they're going to be stacked vertically. And so these shelves, plus the plastic underneath all this ice, creates kind of a buffer that prevents it from immediately taking my life. But I still couldn't move because it still had me pinned in. I remember it was a dream, but I wasn't 100% asleep. I was barely awake to know something happening. I thought it was real. And so I remember I tried to push myself up off my bed with my hands, because in my dream, I couldn't push myself up. I was just pinned down. And when I pushed myself up off of my bed, I realized, okay, wow, this is a dream. Okay, this is not real. And that was kind of surreal. And then when I woke up, there was a particular song playing. I play praise music typically, or sometimes the Bible, when I'm sleeping. And this song, which I'm kind of playing right now. Cristo ha tomado mi casa y no lo quiere soltar. Cristo ha tomado mi casa y no lo quiero soltar. So that's saying God has taken my house, He's taken my house, and He won't let it go. And Christ has taken my home, my church. Cristo ha tomado mi iglesia, ha tomado mi iglesia y no la quiere soltar. Cristo ha tomado mi iglesia y no la quiere soltar. Estaba yo muy triste. I was very sad. Mas ahora soy feliz. But now I'm happy. Porque Cristo ha tomado mi iglesia y no lo quiere soltar. Because God has taken my church and won't let it go. God has taken authority over, or taken control over, my house, over my brother, over my home. Okay, and so this was a song that was playing, and I don't believe that was a coincidence. I believe that was something that the Lord had incorporated as as a part of the dream slash vision, you might say, that He gave me. And so, essentially, what I'm proposing to you is that the Lord, when the Lord's judgment falls on the United States, He's going to be taking control. It's going to be an act of His control, of His dominion, of His will. And it will make our lives better, although initially things are going to look really bad. But most of us are going to survive. Our nation's going to survive. So it's not like we're not going to still be the United States and a powerful country. We will not be as powerful militarily as we were when this is all said and done, but we will still be the United States and we will survive it. And I'm not going to tell you that, oh, we're going to be like a total bona fide Christian nation and everybody's going to love the Lord. Um, the biggest denomination right now is the Catholic Church. And the papacy, I consider the papacy to be the Antichrist. So they may be professing to be Christians, they're not. Um, and so, but more, I guess what I mean to say is that more Christian ethics will be a part of this nation after God's judgment has fallen down. I'm not saying that we're going to be a bona fide Christian nation, but there'll be more Christian ethics, and probably will finally end the whole transitioning of children and a lot of the more extreme garbage that they're trying to do. And states like Wyoming that are trying to end abortion because the people of Wyoming do not want abortion. Like a very strong majority don't, and they don't want the majority to rule. They want the globalists to rule, and the globalists want abortion because the globalists want to cull the human population. I believe a lot of that garbage is going to end, and Christian ethics and Christian morals will be, as they used to be, they'll be more a part of our nation. And that's a good thing. But yeah, so that's a more broader interpretation of this prophetic dream, and it's just kind of a repeat of what the Lord has showed me in many different ways and in many different times. I'll give you one more example because this is just confirmation. But there's a time where I had a series of dreams. When I go to sleep, I have to wake up to go pee multiple times. And this particular time when I was sleeping, every time I woke up, I was in a different city. And I can't tell you all the cities, but I believe they were all big cities. I was in Philadelphia, I was in Los Angeles, and I'd wake up in a city, it would be nighttime, there would be all of these, they were actually explosives, but they looked like Civil War cannonballs, like the size of coconuts. And some of them seemed like they were fairly, like they didn't have any explosive charge in them, they wouldn't go off, but many of them did. And the ones that did, they were like almost made out of light. And every city I was in, a couple of these would pop. They would explode. And there would be no chain reaction, whereby you would have these massive explosions all over the place. But by the last time I woke up to go pee, I forget what city I was in by this point, I had asked the Lord in my dream something to the effect of, when are all of these cannonballs going to explode, and how many of them? I asked the Lord something like that, and the Lord told me soon, and He said all of them. So this goes along with another vision that the Lord had given me, that especially in big cities, primarily in big cities, we are going to have mass violence, chaos, anarchy, and civil unrest. The Lord has shown me that in more than one vision. He's shown this to other prophets and to other preachers and to other teachers. I'm just one of them. And so every city that I was in, there would be an explosion here and there, but all of these explosives would not go off. The Lord told me they're all going to go off. And so if you look at Philadelphia and you think of Kensington, is an area of Philadelphia with mass substance use and people walking around like zombies, and it's just that'd be like an example of one of a few bombs going off. Similarly, you have more than one neighborhood in Los Angeles like that. You have all kinds of robberies taking place and group robberies, and parts of Los Angeles like Beverly Hills, the Beverly Center, Rodeo Drive, some of the richest, wealthiest neighborhoods of Los Angeles. They're having to contend with robberies. For a time, the homeless population was actually even pushing into Beverly Hills, something unheard of. As I understand it, they actually have forced them out of Beverly Hills. All the homeless they've pushed out of Beverly Hills. But that'd be another example of a few bombs going off in Los Angeles. In LA, I believe it's 2,000 people die every year on the street. Homeless folks, they're dying on the street. And I forget what that comes down to. I think it's like 20 people per day on average. They're having to pick up bodies off the street because these folks, not all homeless are addicted to substances, but we shouldn't be making class of stereotypes, but some of them are, probably a significant percentage, and a lot of them, being somebody who was addicted to substances and certainly using them abusively, I understand. I could have died of dehydration, of starvation, because the substance is all you want to do. I didn't even want to drink water. And there were times where the Lord would tell me, Neon, just grab that thing of honey and just squirt it in your mouth. Drink water, drink water. Because I mean, that's how it goes, And with a lot of these substances, particularly with one that rhymes with the word Beth. And so that's an example of a few little explosives going off in Los Angeles. But every big city I was in, a few explosives would go off. They seemed to manage to not trigger the other explosives to go off in a chain reaction. So there weren't massive explosions everywhere. But the Lord let me know they will all be going off. There will be, it's not literal explosions, although there will be literal explosions in the end, but it's a reference to the mass violence, chaos, anarchy, civil unrest, and upheaval. When ICE was trying to do their job and get rid of all of these illegals in Minneapolis, and you saw people trying to fight them and interfere with them doing their duty, and a few of these dummies get their lives taken because of their behavior, and they put themselves to where they would get their lives taken. Again, in Minneapolis, that's an example of a few of these explosives going off. But it's going to be massive, and so I would reiterate to all, particularly, to everyone, but to TIs in particular, but all Americans, prep at the very least for food. You will probably be able to get water, because in the visions God's given me, there's nothing He's given me that would suggest basic utilities are going to be going down. They may in some cities, but nationwide, you're not going to be like, there's no tap water, there's no electricity. It's not going to be that extreme. But in terms of being under martial law, yes, you will not be able to shop for anything. I send out my love to all y'all beautiful born again TIs. God bless.